Okay. All right. This is that awkward moment where, I don't know if I'm really live or not. And so I just kind of kill time and we just kind of hang out and stare at each other until I can confirm that we are indeed. And look at that. Yes, we are. Okay, cool. All right, that's good. So there's about a 15-second delay. Good to know going forward here. Hello. Welcome to this edition of At the Mic. I am your host, Keith Malinak. And as always, highly encourage you guys to chat away. We will do our best to keep an eye on your comments there and see what we can put on the screen here. A couple programming notes real quick is that coming up tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're going to try again for part 3 of Saving Disney History with Ed McCrae. The power was out last weekend with that brutal cold air coming down here. And so hopefully we get things back up and rolling because we got a lot of ground to cover with Ed on part 3 of Saving Disney History. Okay, by the way, this is also the time where I check the chat and make sure that no one in there is saying, where's the audio? So that's a good sign. So far, so good. Okay, so that's tomorrow morning, part 3. Next Saturday will be part 4. And Ed and I have talked off the air, and there's going to be a lot of parts to saving. There's a lot of Disney history that we need to save. Okay, but the Friday live stream, a week from today at this exact moment in time. In fact, you know what? I made a handy dandy banner. Y'all, you get to put 200 characters on these banners. I used all 200. Oh, when it cut off Steve Baker. I thought I had it. Okay, so anyway, there you go. Saving Disney History Part 3 coming up tomorrow morning. A week from today will be Hillary Kennedy from The Blaze, Chris Cruz from The Blaze. They will join me here, and then we'll do some more Saving Disney History on Saturday morning, January 27th, and then Friday, February 2nd, Brad Staggs and Steve Bake. So he is he's the writer, the reporter for The Blaze, who went to the Capitol on January 6th. I want to see if we can have a conversation with him that doesn't surround January 6th, because I'm sure there's a lot that he's great to talk to in the hallway. And I was like, you know what? Why don't you come on the live stream? So that's what we're going to do there coming up in 2 weeks. All the important dates are right there at the bottom. Okay, so I have 2 gentlemen here that I'm so happy they can join me for one of these Friday live streams. And if you aren't familiar, Lauer Road Radio is a fun podcast. If you just, and this is a compliment. It's not going to sound like one, and so I'm not even going to put them up here while I say this. If you just want something just that doesn't get your blood boiling, that you just want to just enjoy yourself, this is the podcast for you. And my word, do we need podcasts like that in our lives in 2024 America? And so these guys, I'm gonna obviously I will let them explain their show. In fact, let me add them to the stage. Hello, gentlemen.
Tanagra, when the walls fell. How's it going, Keith?
Oh man, I tell you what. And by the way, you guys settled let me get this stupid banner off of here now.
Sure.
Because you settled a controversy that I was going to ask at the onset. I'm like, is it Jason and Dan? Is it Dan and Jason? And clearly,
Jason and Dan.
It's Jason and Dan. All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we got that clear.
The song says Jason and Dan, but that was for rhyme purposes only, because it's harder to rhyme Jason than it is to rhyme Dan. If you'll notice, for keen observers of the show notes, the description always says this week Dan and Jason talk about.
See?
Now,
well, he writes the description for the show.
Who writes it? Who doesn't write it?
It's a compromise.
Yeah, I set up the text.
It's a dual operation.
Well, thank y'all so much for making time here. Why don't you, for those that aren't, because I know a lot of your audience is here today hanging out with us, and hello everyone out there. Thank you so much for making time. But for those that aren't familiar with what you do, I want to let you explain what you guys do over there on Lauer Road Radio.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, thanks to our fans who have tuned in. I'm sure you're fan, whatever. If you want to be,
hi mom.
No, she's not with us anymore.
Thanks for bringing it up real early. Our fans are called the
Thanks a lot, Keith.
This is a good start. No, we're off to a good start.
Our fans are called the Lauer Patch Kids. So some of your Lauer Patch Kids are probably. So what is the show, Jason? Here's the deal, Keith. Well, how old are you?
Too old.
Too old.
Guess.
You're about
I'll
our
tell
age.
you. You guess.
You're 45.
2.
6. 53.
47.
47.
Oh,
okay.
47.
Forty-seven.
We're
So
in the same ballpark.
we're all we're around the same. When you watch Stranger Things, you feel connected to it as a time period.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So we're all about the same age. So Jason and I grew up in Marion County, Ohio, out in the middle of nowhere, and we liked talk radio. We also grew up loving sports, just crazy about sports.
Yeah.
And every Saturday morning, our dad would angrily make breakfast. I don't know. At some point, my mom and dad made a deal.
Yeah.
And that deal was that mom could sleep in on Saturday morning and dad could make breakfast. It was either oatmeal or eggs or pancakes.
Yeah.
Mostly
breakfast.
Mostly oatmeal.
A lot of oatmeal.
Very angry about it. You know what I mean? Slopping it down. But the highlight was that we could listen to, Jason, do you remember the show?
Mark the Shark.
Mark the Shark. Now, you might not know Mark the Shark, but he's the local legend. And this is before internet, way before the internet.
Oh, yeah.
And you could call in to Mark the Shark and you could ask him
you could try to stump him.
It was Stump the Shark. You could ask him a sports trivia question and he would know all the answers. He was like a sports.
And once again, before you could look it up online.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is how we grew up.
Yeah.
And I always thought that someday maybe, I don't know, I feel like I could do a sports radio show. So like 10 years ago, I don't know. It might have been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Jason and I are talking and we said, you know what? I listen to sports podcast. You listen to sports podcast. We're better than these guys, at least as good. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
So we started Lauer Road Radio, which was supposed to be a sports podcast, right?
Yeah. And 6 months in, we realized
it killed it for me.
Yeah.
All of a
sudden, I don't like sports anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm covering
all of a sudden I'm watching sports in the morning because I have to. And then I hated it. So we stopped talking about sports.
Yeah.
And then we said, well, what's left? And this is what's left.
No, hold on real quick before I forget here. Anybody in the comments, we've had issues with audio in the past and the levels matching. That's the one thing I don't have here is the ability to see levels. So if either I'm too hot, if I'm too loud or the guys are too loud, please let us know, one or the other. You're our ears there. But it's funny you say that. When I was the program director for a radio station in Charleston, South Carolina, I had to do so much programming around football. And so it would ruin football for me. Like it was South Carolina Gamecock stuff on Saturday, Carolina Panthers stuff on Sunday. And I hated football season. I loved watching it, but it became a job. Sports became a job. So I can totally understand what you're saying there.
Yeah. A lot of things are that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage.
Okay.
Sometimes. No, I don't feel that way.
She's not watching. You can say
there's no way. My wife has never listened to a minute of our show.
That's helpful, right?
Not hard.
I've been doing my best, but
so
not interested.
Okay. So what can the average listener expect when they tune you guys in then? I mean, because I think you cover a lot of ground, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. More than most.
It's stream of consciousness stuff, Keith. It's just whatever comes to our brains. Mostly it's just goofing around. We are conservative. We don't hide it. We're conservative white Christian males. We've got a
Christian nationalist.
There's a Trump
right beside Yoda
in the back.
Yeah.
Now I was watching you on Pat Gray. Is that the show?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't want to insult.
No, that is my day job. Pat Gray Unleashed over on the Blaze. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Big fan of Pat Gray. I remember when
he's seen it one time.
I remember when do you remember that interview when he interviewed Mike Tyson? Pat Gray. And Mike Tyson was like really angry and was like yelling at him. Do you remember that?
You got the wrong one.
That's a different Pat?
That's a different Gray.
Jim
Gray.
No. Jim Gray. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Who are we talking about?
I don't know.
Anyway, I was watching you on the show the other day, and you guys were being what I thought was even-handed with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So you were criticizing him, and I didn't appreciate it. So we're conservative Christians. We don't really hide that, but that's not really what the show is about.
No, we try to avoid religion and politics.
Yeah, we just talk about life.
Yeah.
Being
so
dads.
honest criticism is off the table, right? Okay, noted.
We don't appreciate
Okay, so let's see here. When can, well, first of all, there's the if you want to go ahead and subscribe not only to this channel but to youtube.com/Lauer Road Radio. A quick question: where'd you get the name Lauer Road from? Lauer Road Radio.
It's pretty creative. It's the road we grew up on. So
okay, all right. I figured it was something like that. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: we've been doing Lauer Road Radio. That's true. For 40 years, except we only started recording it about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Jason and I grew up without cable,
without anything,
certainly without the internet because it didn't exist. But we didn't have cable. We had 3 channels. So
and the AM radio.
Yeah. Once The Price is Right was over, then we were left to soap operas, which we weren't going to watch. So we just had to make stuff up, whether it was games or whatever. And so, so this is just more of the same for us.
Yeah.
See, I wish I had a brother. I wish I had grown up with, I'm an only child. And so what I would do, and this sounds like a joke, but it's the facts. I lived in a basement, and in the basement, I would do these mock radio shows for an audience of 1. And it was my mom who would then take the tape and listen to it on her way to work and home. And so it was like this fake talk show. And I had different characters, different, like a producer and all this stuff. And I would just like turn my head and they would be on the other side of the room. It was total theater of the mind stuff. And so the world of podcasts and the internet did not exist when I was a kid, because first of all, if it did, then I would have been doing these terrible shows with a cracking voice as an adolescent. And so I'm kind of grateful that there's no chance that those shows are out there anywhere.
Yeah, same.
No, we would have totally done
Oh
that.
My goodness. I can't even imagine how cringy that would have been to go back.
And so I had like these 2 desks set up in my room, and on it I had this little I had 2 boom boxes, okay, and then I had like a microphone that was right up, and you'd had to keep the volume really low or else it would obviously distort and all this stuff. And then it was hooked up to a radio station kit that you would buy at Radio Shack. And then I would hook up a lantern battery on it, and I would just kind of give it more power. And I had the transmitter, if you will, was up in the ceiling tiles and stuff, and then out around the house, down the street. Yeah, it was a mess. But I really wish that if I only had the world of podcasting, because that's the thing. Anybody can do a show, and you can find a platform that will host it for free and knock yourself out. Have fun.
Free? We've been paying money.
I've been paying a lot of money for this. There's a guy that I met on the street, and I said, "Do you know how to get a podcast?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Give me, $20 a week."
Yeah.
And so I've been meeting him on the street every week.
We call him Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy on the street.
I mean, he's making it happen. You've heard of us. So
yeah, that's cool. Hey, let's talk about some of because one of the things growing up, trying to broadcast, and in fact, I was just telling the story. It's that, oh gosh, we have an internet. I'm probably having internet problems. Is it you or is it me?
It was you.
It was me. See, that's weird because it's hardwired here, and that's.
We tried to hardwire.
That's what I was going to tell you about. I was going to bring that up when we started out. Wouldn't it be ironic though? Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Very professional of you. And so it's just ironic that I'm going to be the one with communication problems here. When it started off rough, trying to get you guys connected, because every time you would talk or whatever, there was a local radio station apparently coming through the line there in Ohio, where you guys are based. And we finally figured out the radio station that was coming through. And it reminded me when I was a kid, whenever I would hook up a microphone at my friend's house, it would pick up a radio station and it would just ruin our whole experience. And it turned out there was a transmitter about 1/8 of a mile from his house. And so we finally figured out that is what was happening. People don't realize this. Just a few minutes before we went on, you guys, whenever what was it? It was like an Ethernet cable on your end acting as a radio antenna.
Yeah, we have a 100-foot Ethernet cable. I wanted to hardwire into the modem so there's no connection problems. And turns out we were hearing Pierce Morgan. We were hearing
Marion's finest radio station, WMRN. You can switch over right now to get I don't know. Yeah.
And so now we're on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So
Now you're on Wi-Fi.
It's a bit spotty, but it's just
unbeknownst to you, we see that it is definitely on the Wi-Fi. But hopefully we can keep a stable connection on both ends. Because boy, it's such a challenge. I mean, like I said, you had best intentions with a hard wire. I have a hard wire here, and then yet I'm still having spotty issues. So we will power through as best we can. But the good news is, if one of us drops off completely, at least one of us hopefully will be connected and just keep on.
We'll take the show. If you drop off, we'll take it from there.
Oh, I'm gonna let you take the show at some point. I didn't bring too much to the table today, so. Again, anyway, thank you all for making time today. I did send a couple of things ahead. I don't know. Did you? Let's see if I can do this. It's so awkward trying to do all of these. Let's see here. Okay, so I got to make that there, and I go back here, and then boom.
Whoa.
We got to talk about this right here. So my son came home from work from his job the other day, and he had brought us a stack of 4 boxes high of Cheez-Its, as you can see there. It's a lot going on there. What, about 180? See, I'm not good at math, but I think I just nailed it. You guys,
are they the little bags?
Check that. Yeah, I think I don't know. It's a little individual size bags. Yes, sir. And so he brings this home. I'm like, what is happening, bro? And so he explained that his boss had these were in the break room at his job, and his boss said, somebody has to get these out of here. Ezra, you're a low man on the totem pole. You're taking them home. And they expired in October. And now they've gone from his break room to our front room. And it's like, I don't know what to do with these things. I don't want to waste them. But
first of all, Cheez-Its don't expire.
That's the thing. That's the thing. They're still fine. You're right. Yes.
And they're amazing.
It's one of those best used by dates.
It's something that the government makes them do, but we all know.
A lot of wiggle room there.
It's going to last for a while. Cheez-Its are amazing. I mean, count yourself blessed. You're a rich man with all of those Cheez-Its.
So it kind of got me to thinking, if you're going to stock up on something, Cheez-Its isn't the worst thing you could do. And there's no shame in stocking up. I call it being prepared. It's not hoarding. It's called preparation. Mm-hmm. And plus, if you eat something religiously, you don't want to keep having to go back to the store every few days. So for me, what I stock up on, and it's no surprise to anyone that knows my Twitter feed at Keith Malinak, is that I enjoy Basic 4 cereal. Every morning I have a bowl of Basic 4 cereal before we go on the air, and on the weekends, as a matter of fact. So I have at times, I've probably had 20-something boxes before in my office. Because I don't like to think about it for a while, So I just wondered, fellas, do you guys have anything like my obsession? As I said, Basic 4, Ezra's Boss, Cheez-Its.
What is Basic 4 cereal? I have no idea.
Basic 4 cereal? Oh my gosh, you're missing out. I'll try to find a good picture, but it's got every sort of great. They got a yogurt covered. Raisins or something. I don't know. I'm trying to find a picture here for you.
I used to love Quaker O's. I don't know. Did you ever have Quaker O's? It was like an O with some like nut and honey type stuff in the middle of it.
There you go.
I don't think they sell it anymore, but it would tear the roof of your mouth to burger, basically.
Yeah, I can't handle that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I think I said raisins. There's not a chance in hell has raisins, so that was completely wrong. Here's a typical. Let's see here. See, there's too much going on here. Me trying to share all these pictures. Let's see. How do I? Let's see. Hold on. There's just too much here. But anyway, just take my word for it.
I got a phone. I just,
Yeah.
I was honestly just kind of buying myself some time here. So. Jason, what do you stock up on?
There you go. There's my typical trip to the old store.
Basic 4. Never seen it.
Okay.
Oh, love to try it. Yeah. Oh, give it a shot, fellas. You're missing out. Basic 4.
I haven't had cereal. In years.
I don't eat cereal.
Yeah. So.
Really?
Kind of a health nut.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But I don't know.
Well, there's healthy cereals, is there not?
Does it have marshmallows?
No.
I got out of the cereal game a while. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But one of the themes of the show is that it's not that I think Jason's like less than me. It's just that I feel like I'm better than him, and most people I'm better than. So that's kind of a general feel of the show.
Well, here's the thing. He lives in a loft.
I do live in a loft.
It's very
in fact,
pretentious.
We're recording in one of my one of the rooms in my spacious. Yeah. So
humble brag.
So I'm rather pretentious about it. People don't understand what it's like to live in a loft. I do, and I try to explain it, but I can't quite get it. But the thing about living in a loft is that you're higher than everybody else, so you feel like you're better than everybody
physically?
else. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then you have to come out of the loft into the normal people area. And then God only knows what you're going to find in the normal people.
Especially Marion, Ohio.
So we're downtown Marion, Ohio. I don't know about the town that you're from, but we are one block from pretty nice stuff and one block from what I call the ghetto. I've been told that I like to say the ghetto. That's a word I apparently like to use, but it's not so good. So you just never know what you're going to find just on the other side of the tracks here in Marion. And the other day I'm walking down, I walk out of the building and I see this dude. He is booking around the corner. He's wearing a wife beater. He's got a pillowcase and he is running. Dude is running. He is booking it. And stuff is like kind of like falling out of his pillowcase. And then I hear,
was he skinny or fat?
He was pretty skinny.
Yeah.
He was like weird skinny.
Yeah, no, I got you. I follow.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to create the picture.
Okay. Yeah, he's pretty skinny. Greasy, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway.
Probably meth, right?
Meth?
Yeah.
No, that's so like 2004. I think we're on to other drugs now, but I don't really know. Crank or the juice.
And we went right past bath salts too.
Yeah. Listen.
Yeah, that was the Obama years.
Uh-huh. So anyway, so he's booking it around the corner, and I'm a good citizen. All right. I care about my city.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to follow him. I'm just going to stay close to him and just kind of be aware of what's going on. And then all of a sudden these cop cars come out of nowhere and then they get him behind this alley. And so I went up and I talked to a couple of local guys and they're kind of giving me the story. Hey, the thing about Marion, Ohio, where you're a Southern guy. Is that right?
Yeah. Marietta, Georgia, suburb of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Home of the Big Chicken. You guys got, I think, the home of Warren Harding. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we can talk about Warren Harding too.
Right.
There's some controversy.
I got a big chicken. You got a great conservative president. Continue.
We can talk about it later. But so anyway, so they get him around in the alley, and then I'm talking to these guys, and there's something about Marion, Ohio, that although we're north. We're somewhat northern Ohio.
Yeah.
There is a southern accent in Marion, Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Weirdly so.
It's like a weird West Virginia, Kentucky kind of migration that happened. Somehow they landed in Marion. And you ain't gonna believe what's happening here, man. This guy over here, man, he was just booking it around the corner. Those cops, they came out of nowhere. I don't know what you're talking about. And these guys, born and raised in Marion, I'm 100% sure. I know the Marion accent. And so I'm talking to them, and man, that guy's a meth head. He's messed up, and they got him good. So I'm walking back to my loft in the safety of my, security coded building. And I see on the ground that this guy had dropped a knife.
Oh, snap.
So there's a knife on the ground. And like I said, I'm a good citizen. So what am I supposed to do? So I think.
Well, what you do is you flag the cops.
Well, sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But
make it their problem.
Yeah, that's not your problem. That's their problem.
Yeah. I made it my problem, though, because I thought, well, they're going to want this as evidence. And if I leave it here, maybe I come back and it's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll just pick it up and I'll carry it to the cops. So these cops have been in a high.
Oh, what? No.
So his DNA and fingerprints are all over this.
Yeah. So you're smarter than I am, Keith.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not better than you, just smarter.
No, you're not better than me. But you're smarter. You street smarts. That happens. I don't have street smarts.
Or smart smarts.
Yeah, I'm a part of the oligarchy, so whatever that is. So I carry the knife, and I'm just walking with this knife. And the thing about it is the cops had cornered the guy in an alley. So it's this dark alley, and they got him over the hood of the car, and they're kind of roughing him up a little bit. He deserves it. He deserves
They shut their
it.
cameras off.
They
first.
shut their cameras off, and he was white and they were white. So it's all fine. It doesn't really
Right. No. The best part is when some rando guy arrives on the scene wielding a knife.
Well, that's the thing. So obviously, Keith, you're smart enough not to pick up the knife. But now the next question you want to ask yourself is, if you had a lapse in judgment and you did pick up the knife and you were carrying it to cops who had just been in this adrenaline-fueled chase, and you're approaching them from behind in a dark alley while they're just, really amped up, what's the right thing to do? I don't want to spring it on them.
I think what you do is say, "Hey, coppers, I got something for you."
You know what I mean? Like, like, I don't want to be like, "I got a knife." Yeah, right. Like, I don't know what to say. So I think, well, I probably shouldn't sneak up on them, and I'm thinking, and I don't want to just scream, "I've got a knife," but I do want them to know I have a knife, and also I don't have anything here to example. Okay, let's say our grandpa carved this, by the way. You like this?
Very cool.
Yeah. No. Anyway, let's say this is the knife, and let's say this is the business end of the knife right here. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm not supposed to hold it like this because that feels very
threatening.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like this is also kind of threatening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's okay either. I've seen some prison movies where they kind of shank it, sort of.
Right. There's really no good option here.
There's not a lot of good options.
Unless you hold it like this, I guess. But
So
then, of course, you're
kinda
adding more fingerprints.
I kind of went with this right here, and I
Okay,
just
okay.
presenting the knife is kind of
Right.
what I went with. So I didn't know what to yell, so I just gave him a hello. That's what I gave him, the hello. And when I said hello, the canine unit in the car next to me, unbeknownst to me, sticks its head out the window and almost takes my head off. Scared the crap out of me. And then all the cops turn around like, "What the heck?" And I'm sitting there with the knife.
The dog's going nuts.
So thankfully, I happened to know one of the police officers. And he was like, "Dan, what are you doing?" Here's the thing. I got a knife.
Wow. So you did not get shot, thankfully.
Thankfully it would have been completely cool if they did. You get it. Like I would have been like, "I get it."
Yeah.
This is on me.
Yeah.
So I gave them the knife, and we had a good laugh about it. It was explained to me that I shouldn't do that again.
By his wife.
I was like, I thought
By
you
the
might want it.
cops.
I was like, I watch a lot of Blue Bloods, and I thought you might want it for evidence. So
Wow. No, that did so thankfully you're still here.
Yeah, and
That's
then
good.
I don't know. I don't want to say uncoincidentally or coincidentally. A couple months later, I'm on my way home in my Toyota Sienna minivan. Okay, I drive a 2007 Toyota Sienna minivan.
Nice.
No big.
Well,
no big
I mean,
deal.
he lives in a loft.
I live in a loft, so that's the
he
kind
couldn't
of
get the Prius.
that's the
so
kind
he
of
went with
car
minivan.
that I drive.
Yeah.
So I'm rather unthreatening, and we're driving in Marion, Ohio one day, and the cops in Marion, Ohio, they got a lot to worry about.
Yeah.
They got a lot to think about in this town. Okay, a lot of drug traffic, a lot of things. So every once in a while, you see some high police activity, and I see this police car driving, and they got big lights on, like, that I've never seen on top of a car,
searchlights,
like
yeah.
searchlights, and the guy's like looking. I'm like, man, they're out to get somebody. So I go into Kroger with my daughters and my wife, and we go to get some ice cream, and we're walking out, and we're joking, we're having a good time, that sort of thing. And we get in the car, and I pull out of the parking spot, and within 30 seconds, 4 cop cars surround me in the Kroger parking lot, like boom, boom, boom. I can't go anywhere. And
you tried.
I tried. I was like, they're obviously not trying to get me, so I try to wiggle
Get out of my way.
it. Sorry, let me get out of your way here. Beep, beep, coming through. So anyway, yeah, it turns out I rolled down the window, and he was like, "Sir, I need you to get out of the vehicle." And I said, "Okay." And I asked him if everything was all right, and he said, "Well, are you Dan Owings?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "There's a warrant out for your arrest. You're considered armed and dangerous. We need to take you in." It's like, okay, all right, calm down.
Wow.
And here's the other thing I've learned a lot of things living in a loft. What I've learned is that when you're around cops that consider you armed and dangerous, they don't like it when you put your hands in your pockets.
And it's cold outside.
It was cold outside. I kept on putting my hands in your pockets, and he said, "Sir, I'm not going to ask you again to stop taking your hands out of your pocket." Like, listen, I'm nervous. You're nervous. Everything's okay. So I talked him out of it. I talked my way out of it. And
by the way, I got a knife.
Turns out there were, yeah. Are you the one? Do you have the knife? Do you need the knife? So turns out they had the wrong guy the whole time. But I don't know if that was connected. But anyway, kind of crazy stuff.
No, there's another Keith Malinak, and in fact, we lived in New Jersey at the same time. But I started getting emails that were meant for him, and they were always from. It was clearly that whatever businesses he had been going to, a couple of them had typed in one character off, and so, but I couldn't. Every time I'd reply, it'd be like a no reply email, and when it was a very strange thing. Because when I would email this Keith Malinak back, it would end up in my inbox. So I'm thinking, what the hell is he getting email from me? So I had no way to contact this guy. And let's see, I know he used to get his oil changed on a Honda dealership. I think a Hillside Honda somewhere in New Jersey. And there's he signed up for a dating site, and there was some other thing. But anyway, finally I get an email from his dad. He's like, "Son, I really think you need to get into teaching. You could get your degree and blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "This is my chance. This is my chance." And I reply to the dad, and I'm like, "Bro, your son, I'm getting his emails. Could you please make this stop?" And so it did stop. So I think he got a completely different email address. But I want to talk about, I had a similar incident with police, Cobb County, Georgia, back during college. And there was this neighborhood that was just a cul-de-sac way up on a hill. It was a way up high, and you could see the Atlanta skyline, and it was just beautiful. And so Carrie, my wife, at the time we were dating, and I had planned on, I was like, this would be a great spot to propose and all this stuff. And anyway, so I want to take a friend up there. I want to take a buddy of mine. I wanted him to see this, this what I had planned. I was like, hey, you might come up here and show your girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. So we go up there, and a lot of time has passed from when I went up there and it was just a bunch of empty lots overlooking the skyline to now there are homes there. I mean, months have passed. And apparently throughout those months, a lot of people had frequented that area and done improper things, the things you shouldn't be doing in a neighborhood out in public. And anyway, there were needles, there were condoms, there was all sorts of fun stuff scattered about, unbeknownst to me. So keep in mind, here's the scene. It's me and my guy friend up there driving to the top of this hill. And he had actually mentioned earlier in the day how his allergies were really bothering him. So he had watery eyes, itchy eyes. That's important to the story. Because we get up there, and all of a sudden, you talked about the spotlight. That's what happened. Boom, boom. And about 6 or 7 of Cobb County's finest have their guns drawn. They have the spotlights on us, and one of them comes up to the window. And he's like, "Yeah, this one's got glassy eyed. He's been using drugs." And I'm like, okay, wait. And he's like, he was giving them attitude. I was trying to remain calm and cooperative, but he's like, "Yeah, it's because my allergies." It was tense. Geez. So another fun fact about this situation is that during this time, me and some other friends had been doing some recordings, like a movie type thing, short film thing. Anyway, and this was back in the days when fake guns weren't painted bright orange. So in the back seat of my 87 Honda Accord, right in the middle, so that the cops who are standing in front of the car can see with their spotlights what looks to be a handgun right there, just right there within reach. And so one of the officers says, now keep in mind, I was just like you with the knife, man. I'm like, I'm not doing anything wrong. So my brain isn't thinking, hey, this is a tense situation. So when the cop goes, hey, sir, is that a handgun in the seat behind you? I turn around and I say, "Oh, what, this? No."
Oh, there you go.
And all of a sudden, this is when the guns really get drawn. That's when it was. Yes. They're like, "Put your hands where I can see them." You got 7, 8 guys yelling at you at the top of their lungs. That's when the guns came out. That's right. And so I was like, "Oh dear God, please don't kill me." And so that was a fun experience. So you want to do exactly what the cops say and ask of you, and nothing more.
Yeah.
Just answer the question.
Yeah.
Then let them go back there and inspect that gun. Yeah, I nearly died that night. And needless to say, that is not where I proposed. I did not go back on top of that hill. So
here, honey, let me just move these syringes and condoms while I get on my knee.
So anyway, that's got to be careful out there. All right, guys, I realize that, maybe you don't get a chance to watch Pat Gray Unleashed too often, but one of the things I try to force on Pat are animal videos, and he's never in the mood for them. So I think I'm just going to drag him over here, and they're going to be obligatory animal videos every Friday. And somebody sent me this one here that I absolutely love. You guys are going to have to suffer through an animal video. So whoever sent me this, I really appreciate you doing that, because this is a fun one. I call this a dog versus bad guys. So let me see if I can get this on the screen. Let's see here. We're going to share this. Okay, so what this dog is doing, he has his own little stuffed animal. It's like a wolf or something, right? And he's going to be acting out the scene that he is watching. I don't know if you remember.
Did you have this on Twitter?
I think I did put this on. Yeah, this dog's a hero. That's right.
Yeah.
I wanted everyone to see this hero dog. So here we go. Let's see if I can figure out how to add the stage. There we go. All right. There's the cute guy. Watch this. If you haven't seen this, this is absolutely awesome.
What did you do? What did you do? Hey, what did you do? He didn't want this.
What did we do? What did he do? What did he tell you? Both of you calm
Nothing.
down.
He tells me nothing because he's scared of you.
Oh, that
Too
dog.
late now.
All right, get back. Oh, calm down now.
What a good boy. Good boy.
Hey, take Bella back to Emily's place.
The wolf's out of the bag.
Wolf's out of the bag. That's a good boy right there, huh? Huh?
It's pretty exciting.
He's living his best life.
I was just asking my wife the other day if we should turn the TV on for the dog when we're gone. You do that?
Oh, think about it.
They have
You might have a
YouTube
viral
dog
video too come out of it.
Maybe.
There is YouTube dog channels.
Like, not there are YouTube dog channels, but there are channels. I
For
feel like
dogs.
I'm saying it wrong. There are channels that are
featured dogs, but
made-
also for dogs.
made for dogs
Yeah.
to watch. There are dog channels that are made for humans to watch dogs, but apparently there are channels specifically that dogs would like to watch.
Yeah.
So I thought about doing that.
I mean, there are channels, right, specifically for dogs that I wonder if they're subliminally giving the dogs like messages like, "Hey, you should go and pee on the rug." They like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think my dog's smart enough. He's never noticed the television.
Yeah, my dog never has either.
Yeah.
My dog's a doofus.
Oh,
She's
I
a
got
love
one of those.
doofus, but she's just a doofus.
My dog's very old.
Yeah.
So-
How old's your dog?
15, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been around for a while. So it's pretty cold here in Marion, Ohio. I don't know if it's cold where you are, but it's pretty cold here. And lately, when I've been taking him on walks, he looks at me about, I don't know, 2 minutes in. He's like, "What are we doing? What do we got to prove to anybody? Come on, let's just go back."
So you're old. I'm old.
I mean, I don't have to. I'm not trying to impress anybody. Let's
Yeah.
just go back. He does the paw shaking thing as he's going. He's like, "Let's get back." So yeah.
So okay, so 15-year-old dog, right?
Mhm.
So not well, how do I get out of this?
He's not
thing?
breaking any records anytime soon.
Not
No.
breaking. I mean, you are the master of handoffs. You know that, right? I mean, that is. I see. I see you working here.
Leading up to it,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you let the cat out of the bag with that.
Yeah. The problem is that I'm not as fast as I need to be on this
Well, it
stuff.
turns
Boom.
out- Oh,
there he is, huh? There he is. Okay.
That's a
All right, so that
record-breaking
dog
dog.
right there, 31 years old.
I don't.
In
believe it.
fact, I remember we talked about this on Pat's show just a few months ago because he passed away after he had won the award, the Guinness record for oldest dog in the world. So I don't know what you gentlemen were doing on May 11th, 1992, but Bobby in Portugal, that's the dog's name. That's when he was born, and so he won an award. Well, now there's some controversy because his breed lives 10 to 14 years. 31 seems a little north of that.
Yeah.
And so I guess they're questioning some vets are questioning the age. There's not a lot of details of the story other than just to say that they have rescinded it's on hold, right, until they can do some more fact finding. But
so can you imagine being such a miserable person, like such a
that's what I was
sad
like,
sad person that you feel like you have to go out of your way to contact the Guinness Book of World Records to strip this certificate away.
Guinness isn't knocking at your door.
This guy's 31-year-old dog just died, and the only thing he has left is a certificate. And you're like,
that's not where I was going. I was going, how much of a loser do you have to be like, dude, I'm gonna totally win an award. What can I do? You look old. Hey, let's pretend he was born in, just pick a day. May 11th, 1992. We want to go with that? That's where I thought you were going. You were going completely different.
No, I'm just like, let him have it. I mean, I don't know what life is like in Portugal, if it's good or bad.
I imagine they speak Portuguese.
I think they speak Portuguese, so that's cool. But like, I just, other than Ronaldo, you don't got a lot going on for you. Let the guy keep the certificate. I mean, what's the worst it could happen? It's like I remember there was
what's going to happen is people are going to artificially be keeping their dogs alive, probably by machine and ventilators to beat that record. That's what's going to happen.
Well, they're doing that anyway, Jason.
On dogs?
Yes. People are crazy with their dogs. Like the way that they want to keep them. Listen, the moment to happen, I'm going to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's doing good now, but I'm not being humane by leaving him alive.
He's really struggling.
Yeah. There's a dollar amount.
Taking him on walks in the cold, bro. That's not helping.
Well, it's not going to go inside. There's a dollar amount at which, I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a dollar amount at which when I go to the vet and he's like, this is how much it costs to keep him alive. I look at Boomer and I say, it's been a good run.
We had a good life.
We had a good time. And then the vet's like, this is how much it's going to cost to put him down. And be like, you might die of natural causes on the way home. So, that's probably
why do we do that to ourselves? I mean, gosh, it's just, we love our pets. We have great memories with them, just great times. But man, you always know in the back of your mind that day is going to come, and it sucks. But let me ask you this. I have 2 dogs, love them dearly. And the thought, I used to just dismiss this thought in a heartbeat. But since these 2 dogs are awesome, I've now thought, and I've looked into it, and just like you said with the vet bill, I can't afford this, but man, I've really given some thought to cloning. Have you ever considered, man, this is such a good dog, you're a pet or anything, or you've even given that a thought?
I've looked into it.
I'm afraid you're gonna have a pet cemetery situation, whether it's like a zombie dog that you can't have that.
And what would suck is that they would, in a way, kind of ruin your memory. If they turn out to not be as good, then you're like, oh, you remember Matilda 2? I mean, Matilda 1 was dumb. Matilda 2 can't even stand up. She's so dumb. I mean, that would suck.
Was that movie
Matuda?
Multiplicity, where he was like shooting clones of himself, and he got dumber and dumber as it went.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I never saw
Michael
that.
Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Probably I think it released in theaters May 11th, 1992.
Yeah. That's where we were, officer.
It's close. It would be close.
Okay. And when that dog was born.
That was
I think on that day we were probably at Riverfront Stadium.
Peak Michael Keaton. Wasn't it?
92. Yeah, come on. Coming right off of Batman.
He was crushing. It was Batman. He was
96.
Mom, Multiplicity. He was on fire.
Yeah.
That's a good guess, though.
You can't go wrong with the early 90s Michael Keaton.
No.
Okay, so where are we? Oh, I thought this was a great idea that Jason had put in an email to me, because you came up with this. I thought this was great fun. because you know my connection to Nebraska.
Mhm.
Even though I was born and raised in Atlanta, I went to school at Nebraska, and it was, what's your Mount Rushmore of Nebraska? And I really loved this exercise.
Yeah.
Because I've never just stopped to think, what is the best thing about Nebraska? What are the, four, if I had to scope it down.
Mhm.
And by the way, I wasn't sure if at the time you were talking about Nebraska Cornhusker football players. So I made two lists.
No, of course.
I made one of the state and one of my favorite four
Now,
players.
We do Mount Rushmores all the time,
It's a common occurrence.
almost
Yeah.
every week. Now, here's the
Uh-huh.
thing. Just want to give you some information on how this works. It's iconic, not favorite.
Yeah.
So Calvin Coolidge is your favorite president, correct?
Obviously.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. But he might not be the most iconic.
Yes.
You're kind of reserving that for your George Washington, Abraham Lincoln.
Mhm. You might
Okay.
not love the four presidents on Mount Rushmore, but they're not there because they're the best four presidents. Maybe they're in that list.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying they are or they aren't, but they're iconic.
Iconic.
So when we're talking about a Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore, we're talking about iconic, right? Your
Uh-huh.
like my favorite Ohio State basketball player of all time is Chris Gent.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jimmy Jackson.
Well, I love Jimmy Jackson, but Chris Gent gave me hope. You know what I'm saying?
He was white.
He was white.
Yeah.
And but he's not he's not on the Mount Rushmore of Ohio State
No.
basketball players.
No,
I
not
see.
at all.
My favorite. So anyway,
Uh-huh.
so what is the I want both Mount Rushmores of Nebraska.
Yeah, well, I went with favorite. I didn't really go with iconic because I don't know that there's anything that's iconic in Nebraska other than
Are you
Memorial
kidding me?
Stadium.
Chimney Rock? You're telling me Chimney Rock's not iconic?
Chimney Rock didn't make the cut, especially
come
because
on.
it's kind of been crumbling lately, so it's not as chimney-ish as it used to be.
Okay, well,
So I actually, it was kind of depressing as I was doing this exercise. I was going to do one for Georgia as well, and then I thought, nah. It's something about, because Georgia does have mountains and does have a beach, two things that Nebraska doesn't. But I don't know. There's some draw to Nebraska. By the way, John Swank, going back old school here. How's the topography of Nebraska? That's one thing I tried to convince the guys way back in the Pat and Stu days. I tried to explain to them, Nebraska has topography, gentlemen. And so a listener actually made me a shirt that has the outline of Nebraska and says topography because of that awesome moment there. Okay, so in fact, man, I got visual aids, y'all. I got visual aids. We're gonna work
good.
west to east.
Good.
Okay, so I don't know if you've ever heard of Scotts Bluff, huh? So Scotts Bluff
it's a national
is
monument.
it's a national monument. You're right. And boy, I wish I could do two things at once here. Hang on. Wait for it. And boom, there it is, Scotts Bluff. See that?
Oh,
So
man.
it doesn't look like much, but man, it is. It's way out west. It's 20 miles from the Wyoming border. Oh no, is there?
That wagon's
Are you
still
laughing?
there?
The wagon's been there, man, it has weathered some storms, and it's
Is that
stayed
an
in pretty
original
good
wagon
shape.
or like a recreation?
Recreate? Actually, no, I don't know. I think they've just refurbished it, but there
No.
are actually. Now, I saw these in 1990. Well, it was May 11, 1992 was the last time I was at. No, I remember when I was there in early 93, there were wagon ruts out there,
Hmm.
still from the 1800s.
So what?
And
if
so
you
that
go
was
to
really
this
cool.
big rock in the middle of nowhere, what could you do there?
Oh, you just drive up to it. There's actually a tunnel that takes you up to the top and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good fun.
Wait a minute.
So,
So this is one of the things that made the Mount Rushmore for you.
yeah, man, I told you it's not. I didn't have to be iconic. Just my
It's
favorite.
Nebraska.
If it's my favorite, gentlemen, then it's iconic.
Okay,
that's-
so
that's-
but so one of your four favorite things about Nebraska
Yeah,
is that
is going to the top
kind
of this
big rock.
bluff. You're
Uh-huh.
right.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
all right.
It's Nebraska, bro.
No, I get
not
it.
a lot
I get it.
going on
That's
there.
fine.
Okay, so there it is.
Just a
That's the view
different
from
angle.
the top. See that? That's it. No, now
Yeah.
you're up on top of the bluff, man. What are you talking
Okay.
about? Different
Well,
angles.
listen, top of the bluff.
Top of the bluff.
Okay.
Which, by the way, we're going to bring this full circle here. Back Christmas Eve one year, you could, because we went up there to look at Christmas lights and stuff, and you could hear AM 750 WSB from Atlanta all the way from western Nebraska on top of the bluff. How about that,
Awesome.
huh?
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, there's some clear channel stations like that. I know you guys have one in they're nearby Cincinnati.
WLW.
Mm-hmm. In fact, you want to talk about total radio geekdom that we were talking about earlier. There used to be times when I would sit out, like when my dad was dating and he would be hanging out with his girlfriend or whatever. I'd be out in the car listening to baseball games around the nation. See, there was a world before internet, ladies and gentlemen, and you couldn't just find what you wanted to digitally. You had to sit there and tune in. So I would jump around from
Could
Reds
you
games, Cubs
imagine?
game.
Can you, in your wildest imagination, can you imagine a 12-year-old kid in 2024 listening to a baseball game
on a radio? No visuals.
No, just like listening to a baseball game. I can't think of one kid that, but we would do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'd have my glove and a ball, and I'd be throwing the ball in the glove, listening to Marty Brenneman
and Joe Nuxall,
the
old lefty.
Yeah, talk about those great Reds teams back in the day. And I loved it. I thought this was amazing. I would stay up late at night so I could listen to the end of the game. And I just can't even imagine a kid. Now, if I was 14 years old and I had the whole internet at the tip of my fingers, it'd be different. But I hear you.
No, I understand. Like a more modern version of that is I would have, we had this old phone that I would put next to my son. I mean, this is 10, 12 years ago. And at night, I would put the CHED radio out of Edmonton, and he would just fall asleep listening to Oilers games whenever they were playing, and that was the radio equivalent. But it's
well, there's something
different
an analog dialogue where
it sure is, man. It sure is.
I used to it. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a phase. It goes in and out. So sometimes you got to adjust it halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked back on my childhood with this kind of radio infatuation that I had since I was 8 years old. In fact, I think it goes back before that. Because when I was 8 years old, I met a guy who was, this guy, Alan Casey, if you're out there, thank you for the path you put me on. He was such and I mean this very affectionately, he was such a nerd that he was building like radio stations in his basement. And that's where it all started. That's a conversation for another time. But before that, even when I was 5 years old, that Christmas, I got a stuffed animal, and it was a dog, but he had a radio in his belly.
Mm.
And you talked about the analog thing. And so at night, as I'm falling asleep, you try to find that sweet spot, and then boom, that's where I'm going to fall asleep too. It's just, different world. Okay, so that's Scotts Bluff. All right. Remember, this is Keith's Iconic. Now we're going to move way up to the northern edge, right on the edge of the border of South Dakota. By the way, somebody was very kind, said that I take incredible photos. I found all of these photos on the internet. I can't take credit for any of these, but thank you. All right, so let's see if I can figure this out here.
I hope it's another rock.
Yeah.
Oh
Maybe
gosh,
even
totally another rock, bro.
This
is Toadstool National Monument. And this is it's kind of like you're on the surface of the moon in some of these places. My son and I just spent an afternoon here just walking around. It's almost like a mini Badlands. Have you ever been to the Badlands of South Dakota? That's what Toadstool is. But it is so wild because you're on for about 10 miles on a gravel road leading to a national monument. It is in the middle of nowhere, and it's difficult to find information on Toadstool on the internet, And it's just it is so out of the way and so quiet and so peaceful that if you ever find yourself in northern Nebraska, way out west near South Dakota, you got to get to Toadstool.
It sounds very different than Toadsuck, Arkansas.
Toadsuck, Arkansas is one of our favorites.
Oh, tell me about Toadsuck.
Well,
Toadsuck, Arkansas. What do we got?
Not too much more to know about it other than the fact that it's obviously the genesis of the town was a group of people that would
people getting high.
Yeah.
That's
those toadsuckers.
There was a real Toadsuck, Arkansas. We've driven through it. So, wow, Nebraska. So we've got a pretty big rock, and then we've got a bunch of not as big rocks. Those are the two. Those are the two.
You're getting it. You're getting it. Yeah.
All right.
Let me zoom this in. Hang on.
I just thought there was lots of corn.
I'm
in Nebraska.
gonna have to.
Oh no, not out west.
Oh.
No, that's in the central.
Is this the same? Is this the mushroom?
This is the
kingdom?
Toadstool.
Yeah, that's That's just another picture.
Sure.
Of Toadstool.
Sure.
Okay. Where else we go?
South Dakota. Sorry.
So now we're going to Omaha, and we're going to the Henry Dorley Zoo, which is, in my opinion, the best zoo there is that you can visit. They've got the Desert Dome, which you will see here in just a second. That I think is pretty awesome. There you go. Boom. This is right next to where they used to do the College World Series.
Mhm.
And
What's
so
the
you
big
used to
dome
could see, yeah, that's the Desert Dome. You used to could see that during the College World Series games in the background.
What will I experience when I walk in the Desert Dome?
Desertishness.
Okay.
Mhm. It's
Probably
really warm in there.
Yeah.
It's
And
warm
it's-
in there?
It's warm in there, and it's still cooler than Texas in the summer.
Okay.
But you see all the little desert creatures and stuff, and I think that's where the birds are, if I remember.
That's where the birds are.
The birds are. They let the birds fly around and do their little birdie things, you know.
All right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's the Henry Dorley Zoo. It's really nice
should
there, and there's
work
a
on
nice little
tourism.
aquarium they got in there.
Tourism
That's
for Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, I told
I've
you,
heard-
man. I went all out on this.
I have heard good
presentation.
things about that zoo, though. I have a friend who's from Nebraska, and he tells me it's the best zoo in America. Now,
We have Jack Hanna.
I don't know if you've heard about a little guy named Jack Hanna, but his zoo's in Columbus,
Sounds familiar.
Ohio. And yeah, it's
Jack Hanna.
it's Jack Hanna Zoo. So
That's cool. All right. So there we go. Now here's my this is iconic and in my own personal favorite, Mount Rushmore. This would be, and I don't really want to spend a lot of time talking about the current state of the program, but this would be Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I attended college. And there you go. There you have we've been
Pretty
selling
iconic.
out every game there since 1962. Whether our team sucks or not, we don't care, because there's not much else to do other than what Scottsbluff and Toadstool.
yeah,
And Henry Dorley.
it's we're not a sports show, and but it
But we
is-
used to be.
But we used to be. So I used to know about sports, but it is sad that Nebraska joined the Big Ten, and the whole situation just was no good.
Nebraska was great before the Big Ten.
Before they joined the Big Ten,
I don't think that one has another to do with the other. That was a Joe Biden delivery there, Keith. No, we started our collapse long before. This has been going on for over 20 years, gentlemen.
When Tom
We've only
Osborne
been in the yes, yeah, because he left. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly when it happened. But
Yeah.
I mean, our definition of collapse has been Overton windowed over the year, whereas 3 losses used to be a collapse, and now can we get 3 wins? But I was
Seems like-
thinking before we went on, I was thinking how see, I didn't have a college football team growing up. It wasn't until I committed to the University of Nebraska when I really started rooting for a specific team. And I timed it perfectly, because in my 4 years there, they won 3 national titles, lost only 2 games.
Mhm.
And I mean, my first 10 years of rooting for that team was they lost a total of it was just it was maybe 10 or 12 games, really. But
so you're there when
I was
Tommy
spoiled.
Frazier is there? Is that right?
Tommy Frazier, Brooke Behringer, yeah. Amon Green, Grant Wistrom, yeah, a bunch of iconic. There you go, huh? See,
Yeah, Tommy
Nebraska
Frazier's
players.
probably he's on the Mount Rushmore of college quarterbacks of all time in my brain.
He could be for sure.
I don't think anybody ran the option better than him.
No argument from me.
I remember watching. I remember just
Yeah.
thinking, like, this guy is going to tear up the NFL. Like,
Yeah.
this is going to be amazing once he gets there.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
It doesn't
the
always-
year
Yeah.
he should have won the Heisman Trophy. It was the year that Eddie George won it.
That's our guy.
And the travesty there is that Eddie George didn't even lead his conference in rushing yards. Why is he winning the Heisman Trophy? Hey, that's a trivia question. Who led the Big Ten in rushing? Any guesses?
the year that
That year,
Eddie George won the
yeah.
Heisman? Oh,
Was it
that's
Kajana Carter?
no, that would have been before that. I mean, there'd been
Now I
after
feel like I should go and fact check this while you guys think, but I'm pretty sure I got this.
I think Kajana Carter was after Eddie George. I don't
When
think
Penn State joined in the mid
Mhm.
90s.
Yeah.
Who was their running back? I thought they had a.
Well, Kajana Carter.
Was it Kajana Carter?
Yeah, was right there. I would say it's a guy from Wisconsin. Would have been my guess.
Ron Dane.
You got it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
Ron Dane.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, I'm not able to fact check on the fly. I can barely get a picture to
Ron
show up on
Dane
the
was
screen.
good.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
It was great.
So,
But Eddie George.
Come on.
mean,
Okay.
Eddie George.
Mhm.
Did you see him play?
Uh,
football? He was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw him. Let's see here. Real quick, this is honorable mention. Let me just do this. The tallest building in, well, I don't think it is anymore, obviously, with Omaha doing it. Definitely the tallest building in Lincoln, because there's an ordinance that says you can't be taller than the state capitol. That's the inside of it. I love, you go up to the top there and you can look out, and it's a really good time. But let's see here. That's not the picture that I want to show you here. This is what it looks like. Boom. And see, like I said, I put this little package together, and I thought, man, I like Nebraska stuff more than Georgia, my home state. But anyway,
cool
it's
right
a
there.
beautiful state. I love it out there in Nebraska. It's a beautiful place. That the topography, y'all, it's something else. So anyhow, so let's talk about Ohio. What's your Mount Rushmore in Ohio?
Okay, so
I think we just put presidents plural.
we've had 7.
Right. That is
Yeah.
fascinating.
A
Yeah.
lot.
And
So-
you're not even an original state. That's
Mm-mm.
impressive.
16, number 16, I think,
Sure.
or 19. It's either 16 or 19.
Yeah, Ohio. So yeah, presidents, and then we have the birthplace of aviation. The
Yeah.
Wright brothers are from Ohio.
Yeah.
Plus,
I agree.
It's the first person to was it orbit?
John Glenn.
John Glenn was
Yeah.
the first person in space,
And Neil
and then
Armstrong.
Neil
was
Armstrong's the
on the
first
moon.
guy to be
Well-
on the moon. Well, come on. I mean, if we landed on the moon, assuming we landed on the moon, Neil Armstrong is the
Yeah.
first person to walk on the moon. So I don't know what category
well,
you put all
we
of that
put
in.
space.
So just space and flight. So
Yeah,
we got
space, flight, presidents.
Mhm.
I mean, that's massive right
okay.
there.
So those are two of the things.
I mean,
Flight.
I would say
and
Ohio
presidents.
has pretty good roller coasters.
Ohio
Oh,
is.
wow.
They have great roller coasters. We have Cedar Point up north, and we got Kings Island down south.
Yeah.
I don't know if that belongs on the Mount Rushmore or not.
People travel all over the world.
That's true. People do
you know.
travel all over the world. But keep in mind, Nebraska's got rocks that are bigger than others. So,
Mhm.
some are
Yeah. You don't, do you?
no. Our rocks
They're all the same.
our rocks are all pretty standard.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Uh-huh.
rare that you find one that's bigger than another one.
But Ohio's home to those Indian mounds, right?
Oh yeah, the Snake Serpent Mound.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Thomas
lots of stuff
Jefferson
going
was
on.
really
up here.
curious about those.
And we got we have a lake.
Great, one of the Great Lakes.
One of
Oh yeah.
it's probably
There
the
you go.
worst Great Lake, but we still have it.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
Cuyahoga River caught on
Nebraska
fire.
can't
once.
say that. Gentlemen, I believe it's 8 presidents from Ohio.
Is it
Did you
8?
say 7?
I said
I'm just-
7.
Okay.
We
Well,
just lose track.
yeah.
So
And
Right, you
Vivek,
got so many. So,
Vivek's
so
from
I-
Ohio.
yeah, Vivek's from Ohio.
So that'd be 9.
That'll be 9 once he gets elected. So that's cool. John Rockefeller is from Ohio. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
Let's
What's
go
the
with
other rich guy? Where's Rockefeller? What's the guy from
The library guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My wife would know.
Was
She
it-
would be
okay,
mad
so-
at it. Huh?
Yeah.
What is it?
So I can't get all these to fit on one screen here. So let's just walk through these the best we can. You know what? I got a whiteboard there. Hang on. I can't see. This is too complicated. I can't see this is showing up on the screen or not. But let's put these in order, gentlemen.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what, let me do this. And I'm an awkward human being. I'm going to put the names of these presidents on here while you gentlemen talk about presidents from Ohio and
Are we
general.
going to guess?
Let's see if you can get. Let's do this.
We got it.
While I'm writing them down,
Yeah, we
you
got it.
see if you can guess all 8, and then we will rank them. How about that?
Stella, pull up the internet.
All right. I can get a few.
No, listen, they're all parks in Ohio, in our
Well,
Marion.
yeah. I mean, I feel like we can come pretty close.
Okay, so we'll start with Marion, Ohio, home of the great
Warren G. Harding.
Warren G. Harding. And we have, before we guess the presidents, Dan, tell your Warren G. Harding story.
Okay, so Keith, the church that I attend
Mhm.
is the building was built in 1856, so it's pretty
Wow,
old.
that's
building.
awesome. I love that era, by the way.
The 1850s.
The buildings from the late 1800s, like the
Yeah, it's
the whole Ohio Valley, the Ohio River Valley, like the Pittsburgh, that era of building, Chicago,
Mhm.
obviously Ohio. Anyway, continue.
So it's a cool building. It has a bell tower, as a church would. And when we moved into this church building, our congregation did. Somebody that had been there for years, this guy's like 100 years old, told us that the common knowledge is that when Warren G. Harding used to run the Marion Star newspaper, which was next door at the time to the church when it was St. Paul's Episcopal, that Warren G. Harding used to walk next door and take naps in the bell tower of the church.
Nice.
And so this is just something that we've always talked about.
Yeah.
And we were giving
oral history.
It's oral history. It's my favorite kind of history. And we were giving some tours of the church building during like Christmas time.
It was a historical church.
It was like a
tour.
historical church tour. And my pastor's wife is showing people around, and she makes mention of the fact that Warren G. Harding used to take naps in our bell tower. It's, it's a unique feature of the church building.
That's awesome. I love that.
Well, here's what happens.
Oh no.
A couple days later, we get a call from somebody who is part of the Warren G. Harding
Historical
National,
Society.
There's a Warren G. Harding Historical Society, if you can believe it. And there's someone who's in charge of this operation.
Yeah.
She leaves a message on our church's answering machine that says, want to let you know, I heard someone told me that you were letting people know that Warren Harding used to take naps in your bell tower. I just want to let you know that's not true. He never took naps in the bell tower, and we would appreciate it if you stopped spreading that information. So
what?
Yeah, I know. Can you? I mean, this lady's even more miserable than the person that
what a Karen
dog. Yeah. So So anyway, spread the news.
Well, I thought she said we know for.
Oh
a
yeah,
fact.
she said we know for a fact that he did not take naps in that bell tower. Which
how would you even know that?
Seems impossible.
And why would you care enough? It's like, come on, let it go.
I say it. We
try to tell as many people as possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my pastor to put up a sign in front of the building that will say
Warren G. Harding took naps in the bell tower.
Yeah, with an arrow right to the bell tower and a picture of Warren G. Harding with his eyes shut.
On a Mike Lindell pillow.
On a Mike Lindell pillow. That'll make everybody.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So
all right, so we're gonna guess the presidents. Do you have them written down?
All right, so I do have them all written down. Wait, hold on, Malinak. How did I do this? I have okay. It's 8. Yep.
It's 8.
Yep.
Okay.
So cross off Harding.
Harding's crossed off.
Hang on a second. My handwriting, y'all. It is not a pleasant thing.
Well, the goal is you'll cross them all off and nobody have to see it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
We're gonna be just
okay.
Okay, next.
Are you Googling? I can't see you.
So no. There's no Googling.
Okay, so you got Warren Harding.
All right.
Check.
Warren Harding,
okay.
William McKinley.
Yeah.
William McKinley, yes, sir.
Garfield.
2 down, 6 to go.
Garfield.
James Garfield, 3 down,
James
5
Garfield,
to go.
Highly underrated.
He was fat.
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
fattest
No. That man would have been on Mount Rushmore if he had
Agreed.
been able to serve out his term. Man lived 6 months before he was assassinated. His trajectory was great, and one of the greatest quotes of all time is from him, and it's "The truth shall set you free, but first it will make you miserable."
That's good.
James Garfield.
Highly underrated president.
So the fat one was Taft, and he was also one of us.
Yeah, Taft is from
You got
Ohio,
them, gentlemen.
He was huge.
So we got McKinley, Garfield, Harding, Taft, Grant.
Yeah.
U.S. Grant, yes, sir.
Okay. McKinley, Garfield, Taft, Grant.
3 to go.
Boy, I am blanking.
I am blanking too. Stella, do you know?
McKinley.
When you get one of them, you'll get another one. What?
So
They're historic. They're not new.
yeah. Oh gosh, this is driving
Yeah,
me
the most
crazy.
recent Ohio president is Warren Harding. Over 100 years ago.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of recents.
Well, until we get Vivek in there.
We had a real hot time there for a while. Boy, this is driving me crazy. I don't know.
You're like the Nebraska football of presidents. You used to
think so.
be somebody.
Mhm. We
Now
used to.
look at you.
Yeah, we were really something. We had a good run there.
Ohio was awesome
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
1850s.
I don't know. Tell us
Yeah,
the other three. What do we?
William Henry Harrison and Benjamin Harrison.
Yeah.
Benjamin Harrison, by the way, he was in between the Grover Cleveland presidencies.
Mhm.
That you want to talk about a president who sabotaged because it used to be that you'd be elected in November and you wouldn't get inaugurated until March. And he specifically look into what some of the economic policies that he did. He laid all these traps and they worked. to hurt Grover Cleveland's second term. Rutherford B. Hayes,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the
the
one.
man who should have never been president. That was the compromise to get the troops out of the South and end Reconstruction there. That was the trade-off there. So
That's it.
So here we go, gentlemen. We have William Henry Harrison,
Uh-huh.
Ulysses
For
S.
some
Grant,
reason, I had
Rutherford B. Hayes,
Harrison. Well, I had him in Indiana for some reason in my head.
Yeah, I don't know.
James Garfield, Benjamin Harrison, William McKinley, William Taft, or Howard Taft, William Howard Taft, I guess what it is. And then it's a Warren G.
I think
Harding.
Virginia is the only state that compares to us in number of presidents. And talk about a bygone era. I mean, it's like, the first 7 presidents had to be from Virginia or something.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Ohio didn't even get a head start, and you have exactly the same number as Virginia, 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think yours is more impressive.
Thank you. I've been
And
told
their
that
latest
before.
one is Woodrow Wilson. I mean, ugh. Stop. What would you say?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
Martin Van Buren.
Martin,
I mean, that would just round it out.
I love Martin Van Buren. I used to run around with some kids. We would call ourselves the Van Buren boys back when we were.
That's catchy.
Younger.
Write that one down.
Yeah.
So real quick, because I had a feeling we might get to some Husker football. Let me just play one play for you because there's a Nebraska receiver from, gosh, I don't even know when this was, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Because a lot of people don't know this catch. This is something to share with your friends. First of all, let me show you the picture here of Jordan Westerkamp, who had this great mustache that I need to share. And by the time I get done talking about him, you'll have already Googled it, and you don't even need me to tell you this. Jordan Westerkamp. Let's see. How do I share that screen? And well, I guess I'm not going to. There it is, right here. There it is. Okay, cool. Check out that mustache. Is that not the greatest mustache?
Pretty great.
Ever?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not
You like that?
quite as good as Tom Selleck, but
Talk about
It's in the same ballpark. I mean, it's
Come on.
so anyway, there we go. So he was a receiver for Nebraska back in the day. And here is the catch I want to make sure that everybody sees, because we don't have a lot going for us with Nebraska football these days. And so, and therefore, when I have something to share, I have to do this here.
From 7 years ago. This is the most.
Is that what it was?
Highlight.
Okay,
I know, that's what you said.
Here we go, gentlemen.
Keep them confident that they can try to stop Nebraska.
In Florida Atlantic.
We're on the football.
At the motion.
6. Armstrong for Westerkamp again.
Oh,
What?
catch that? Yeah. You're gonna get it in slow motion here.
I assumed.
It's truly one of the greatest catches in college football history. It's just so good.
And to keep the speed in bounds at the same time.
Behind
That's
the
pretty
back.
swigness.
yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
slick.
Right there.
Like I said, we don't
That's it.
We don't
that's
have
an
a-
NFL catch. He got 2 feet
Oh,
in.
Look at it again.
see. Yeah, and so now they're gonna review it.
Oh, they don't trust it.
Oh,
You know, I feel like with those plays that the cat, just give it to him, man.
Right,
I
give
mean,
it to
the
him, right?
catch is so good. I don't care.
So,
Yeah, now this guy.
Coach,
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Pelini. Hey, he's
Uh,
from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I think he's one of our.
All right, so they're gonna review it. Do you think the catch stands, gentlemen?
oh yeah,
It has to.
You think so? All right, let's see here.
he got 2 feet in. It's an NFL catch right there.
That's right. Let's see here.
He has it.
1, 2. Oh
He's
wait,
got
wait
wait
a
a
minute. Catch it. 1. Oh, he's got 1 in for sure. Maybe that second one's out.
Can he make a football move with the ball behind his back?
That's NFL, right?
Can.
Oh,
Give it to
That's
him,
a
man.
catch.
I don't
That's
care.
a catch.
I don't care if he has 2 feet out of bounds. Nobody's
All
catching
right,
him.
but what do you think the referee's gonna say?
Well,
this
this
is
is
in
a
Nebraska.
home game.
Yeah.
They better give it to him.
Yeah.
Give it to him, man.
That's a catch.
That's a catch.
Anyway, they did give it to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there you go. So I thought you'd enjoy that, right?
Mhm.
By the way, the voice you hear, Kevin Kugler, he was a senior at the University of Nebraska broadcasting program when I was a freshman, and now he's a great NFL announcer. So anyway, I'm proud.
you're
I'm
doing
proud
it
of Kevin. Yeah. I don't even know how to stop the video now. We're gonna just watch the whole game. There we go.
Let's do it. Oh, there's something up next. Okay,
Wait,
let's
it's gonna
see.
autoplay. I got it. Stop playing.
So
There we go.
Giblets, by the way, he watches our show too. He just commented. He said, "How could you do the Mount Rushmore of Ohio and not have the Ohio State University?"
Mm.
I mean, it's the biggest one out there.
Yeah, I'm more of a Akron guy.
As you wear a Buckeye hat.
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
you're for the Zips, huh?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Zips.
I love this.
I love the Zips. I love the Toledo, whatever they are.
Mud Hens.
I like the
Yeah.
Bearcats.
Oh.
I love Cleveland State.
Oh, come on.
So you guys enjoy sports. We were
Yeah.
just talking about football and stuff. You've been watching the NFL playoff games at all?
He doesn't watch sports anymore.
I don't.
That's too bad.
So I grew up a Browns fan.
Yeah.
My wife grew up a Browns fan. She went to the games as a kid. I mean, they had tickets and stuff. So
Wow, the dog pound, huh?
unfortunately, the Browns aren't good. And we've raised
Well,
our
I mean-
kids. Well, this year they're all
This year there is an exception. Yeah, I get you.
but I raised my kids to be Browns fans. And as we're watching the game,
Child
and
abuse.
Harrison's 17. Harrison's all excited because it's the Browns, it's the playoffs. He's
Mhm.
never seen this before.
Harrison still has that glimmer of hope.
Yeah, he still has hope.
It's
And
been
I'm like,
crushed in you years ago.
yeah, I'm like,
Mhm.
it's the Browns.
Yeah.
Just
Calm down.
pump the brakes a little
Mhm.
bit. This
Yeah.
isn't going anywhere.
Mhm.
And sure enough, they got crushed.
Yeah.
So, and then he got crushed.
Yeah.
And then I have to
Yeah.
tell him it's the Browns.
Mhm.
So
Browns. You got to prepare yourself. This is what I tell. It's the Falcons. I got it. Hold on a second. We got to backtrack here because I have a quick football question for you. But first, I'm sorry, John. What state are you in? We only have one, but he was a good one. Ike. We're about to have controversy here on the
Wow.
program once we hear back from John on which one president he thinks he has.
I think John is in Kansas, I think. Does that sound right?
See, Ike was born in Texas.
Truman.
So-
Truman is from Kansas, isn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, Missouri.
Oh yeah, Missouri. It's somewhere
It's
over
close.
there. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Cool fun fact about Harry Truman is that he was responsible when Calvin Coolidge was vice president. He was responsible, Harry Truman, for decorating the train station when Calvin Coolidge came to town. 20 years later, the man is making a decision to drop nukes on another country. It's just, I mean, history is fascinating, guys. So let's see here. John
Warren
Swain.
G. Harding. This is another fun fact. He campaigned Joe Biden style. He never left his house. He did all of his speeches from the front porch. People would take the train into Marion, get off the train, listen to him speak, get on the train, and go home.
Because it was already in the bag, man. Like they had already decided that he was going to be president.
Yeah, but that's true. But here's the thing. There's a lot of backroom deals to make that happen.
Yeah, that happened in a smoky room in Chicago.
Yes, that is
Some
true.
very rich people decided he's the puppet. Let's make him the president. And he's like, cool. I mean, all I've ever done is run a newspaper.
But he was the last one before Biden. He was the last one that never left his house during the campaign.
Yeah.
And then Biden tried to repeat that. Well, I guess
he did repeat it successfully.
And Calvin Coolidge was really, I mean, it was the grassroots of grassroots as far as the vice president slot at the convention. But he didn't leave his house in 1924, the White House, to go and campaign. A, it was in the bag for him, but B, he was probably going through depression with his son dying from that blood infection. I'm checking the electoral map here. How close was that in 1920? I don't even know. It was 404 to 127.
Yeah, he ran away.
It was Ohio versus Ohio. James M. Cox. Franklin Roosevelt would have been vice president had Cox won that election.
Imagine
you can only avoid those bullets for so long, America. Okay, so what I wanted to ask you is we had some brutal weather conditions with the playoff games last week, the fourth coldest NFL playoff game in history. And then obviously the snow in Buffalo was just hilariously bad, and they couldn't play the game when it was originally scheduled. They had to wait a couple of days. So a lot of controversy on Pat Gray Unleashed. Pat and I are on the side of play in the elements. Jeffy's on the side of play all your games in a dome. Do you guys have an opinion one way or the other where football should be played?
In the elements.
100%.
I don't care if there's 10 feet of snow on the ground. I don't care if it's raining.
Well, the best is that Chicago game late
the
80s,
fog.
the fog game.
Yes.
The cameras couldn't even see what was going on.
You play, man.
You got to play that game.
This is football. You play in the elements. When I heard that they weren't playing a game in Buffalo because of the snow, I'm like, that's why we have football in Buffalo, is so that we can watch the games where only you can see the lines, because they can only shovel that fast to give you the 5 yard mark.
Right.
That's the thing. That's what you do.
Yes.
You play in the elements.
Yes. And if I'm the home team, I'm going to opt to wear the white.
Yes.
Yeah.
Defense,
You know what?
They won't see you. You'll be throwing picks all day.
Absolutely.
You know what? I just thought of this just now, and I'm kicking myself. I interviewed Vern Lundquist, a legendary sports broadcaster, who, by the way, his last ever sporting event is coming up in April with the Masters. It'll be his 40th Masters, and then he's going to ride off in the sunset completely. But I just remembered right now while y'all were talking about the Fog Bowl, Philadelphia, Chicago, in the playoffs back 1980. What year was it? 6, 7? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, he was the announcer for that game, and I didn't even ask him about that. I'm kicking myself. In fact, I know for a fact that Terry Bradshaw, he had to go down. They had him down at like the front row or on the field, maybe doing color commentary because you couldn't see, as you said, 5 feet in front of your face.
Yeah.
That was quite an experience. Okay, so we're on the side of
game. If you're going to cancel a game, the fog might be the one thing where it's like nobody can see. It's not even worth watching on TV.
I don't care, but you still play it. You figure, and you just give us a picture of fog for an hour. I'll watch that.
A guy like unplugged and he's running around the field with a camera trying to follow the ball.
Yeah, I'd play in lightning. I don't care what it is. Like it's football. You play the game.
Yeah.
Sorry, me and John Swink are just doing a little housekeeping. But yeah, his family. He was very young when Ike's family moved him to Kansas. So yes, okay, there. Had to get that. So both states can have him.
Well, it's kind of like Abraham Lincoln, right? Illinois and Kentucky fight for Abraham.
Sure. They can have him. Okay. All right. So I told you guys, just you can host it from here on out. What else do we got? What else do we want to talk about today? That's everything for me. I told you I didn't have that much.
For you? Well, typically our show's only 52 minutes, so we've already,
52 from right now.
Blown past that.
You
All
ready?
right, here we go. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
I mean, I got stuff.
Do it, man. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're eating a steak, you guys are meat eaters, right?
Sure.
When you're eating a steak, do you do it little kid style where you cut up the steak entirely all together and then eat each piece? Or do you cut the steak and eat one piece at a time? Cut the second piece, eat that. Cut the third piece, eat that.
Those are my only two options.
Well, what else are you doing?
I mean, you just stick the knife in it and you pick it up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Rip it off.
Or just like a hamburger?
You pick it up with your hand. You just, rip it off.
Well, obviously. I mean, that's the man thing to do.
You can do that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a one
You're at a
cut.
fancy restaurant.
No, I feel like if you cut it all up.
Who's the audience with you, Who's with you at the table, right?
Well, let's say it's an important business meeting.
Yes, you one piece at a time. Absolutely, because if you cut it all up, the juices will get out of it. So you got to keep the juices.
You want the juices.
Yeah.
Well, if it's medium rare, the juices are going to stay.
Yeah. If you've never listened to Lauer Road Radio, this is it. This is the show. We talk about this kind of.
I love it.
I
love it.
Yeah.
No, that's an important topic. And
are you a single guy, or do you cut the whole thing up?
See, I have there's a bad personality trait of mine, and it's do all of my work and then relax kind of mode. And sometimes I try to combine them both, but I like to get all of my chores and stuff out of the way, and
so
it carries over. Yeah, it carries over into eating steak. I will cut it just so I can just then I can just spend the rest of the time.
Yeah,
just blah blah blah. I like to get the stuff out of the way, and maybe that's not the best way to do it, but that's how I do it.
Yeah, I think
and it's medium well for me. Sorry, there's not many juices.
The juices are going away at medium well.
Medium well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no more pink left. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I want very little pink, but I do. I kind of like it when it's crispy. I know people are gonna freak out. I mean, it's amazing what people get upset about, but I actually like it when it's crispy a little bit on the outside. All right, that's just how
I don't mind the crispy on the outside. You just pan sear it super hot, super fast.
Yeah.
You get the crispy and you get the red meat on the inside.
I kind of still want to hear the moo.
Okay,
as
sure.
I
think they call that blue, like when it's like so, like it's so rare that it's cold in the middle.
Yeah.
That's I want it to be hot all the way through, like warm. But yeah, I want it. Rare is how I prefer it.
Okay, what do you got?
Yeah. What do I got?
I
Jason?
got more stuff.
Okay, well I got stuff.
Oh, I like this.
Teddy asked me a question earlier. Are you okay, Teddy?
Well, go upstairs and use the restroom. Nobody's stopping you.
Okay, just
no, you're fine.
Hang up. I'm sorry. My youngest son's here. He's like all welled up.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? I look over there. He's like crying. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I gotta use the restroom. Like, go.
Yeah. Nobody's
You know,
stopping.
stopping you. So he asked me earlier.
Mhm.
He said, we just had a family friend die, our family, and so death is a thing that he's thinking about right now.
Good.
He's 11 right now, so
Good.
it's like think about death right now.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, when you die and you go on, to the next life,
Whatever that
is.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, do you get to pick your age?
Oh,
Like,
that's a good question.
So like
Mhm.
he's thinking video game style, like maybe
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
where are you going to stop on the age scale?
Yeah.
If you get to pick the age that you're going to be in, or New
Yeah.
Jerusalem,
Sure.
whatever you want.
Boy, if you're one of those guys, I would say, I don't know. I think it's you just go like kind of like early 20s, right?
Yeah, he said 22.
Yeah.
Now he's only 11, so
Uh-huh.
he doesn't even know what 22 feels like.
Mhm.
At 22, I was already going downhill. I
Wow.
think I peaked at 17.
That's a you thing. Yeah.
17. I was peaked.
Most athletes
Yeah.
peak out
27.
around 20, like late 20s.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're still something's still happening. But yeah, like
Yeah.
27, that's
Well,
about the peak physical
I'm
year.
a big fantasy football guy. I've done it for years. I've been in a keeper league with the same guy for 20 years. So the key age for all of those guys, like the skill guys, is 27 to 30.
Yeah. Mhm.
After 30, you start
It's
dumping
an
them,
immediate drop.
Right.
Mhm.
Especially if they're running backs.
especially if they're running backs. Exactly. After 30, they're done.
Mhm.
But wide receiver, running back, 27 to 30, that's the peak years,
Mhm.
typically. So I think that's a good range, 27 to 30.
Yeah.
If you're going to be this body forever,
Mhm.
What
So
age?
22. I'm with
Okay.
Teddy. 22 is
I'm
good.
going 17. Where are you going, Keith?
Oh, 25. Because
Okay.
I started to, when I play softball, I started getting injured every couple of games when I hit about 30, 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know
Then it was just, it was just like you said, that age of 30, man. Like, what's fascinating is your perspective. You just talked about 11, the perspective of 22. And when you're in your 20s, 30 feels old. When you're in your 30s, 40 feels old. And now I'm on the doorstep of 50, and I'm like, what? No.
It
It's,
happens. It happens, and you don't know it's happening. And then things like, okay, so like Jason and I are both bald, not by choice, but it's just the hair stopped growing.
Yeah.
And so we said, we're just going to shave it because I'm not going to do the comb over thing. I'm not going to do the
Mhm.
thing. So we're bald, and, my wife, God bless her, she says, she'll be like, she says, well, I like it that you're bald. It's like you have a good round head. It's like nice. You know what I mean? I think it's attractive. But anytime we're watching television and like a commercial comes on for hair growth, she's always like, do you think that works? She's like, do you think that works? I'm like, why? Do you want me to use it? No, I'm just curious. I just want to know. And it happened. So like, I still somewhere in my brain, I'm still that 22. It's like why I probably shouldn't play softball because I'm going to do things that are going to hurt myself because in my brain somewhere I'm still that 23, 24, 25-year-old that can just kind of like fall down, get it. And I don't know. Like every time I go swimming, I realize that somewhere my brain still thinks I have hair because every time I come out of the water, I do that kind of like head flip thing, like I still have hair. And I don't know. There's no reason for me to do it, but I still do it. So
Yeah. This is going to make you feel old too. So age, is that Matilda?
hey, look at that.
There she is. She was down here making noise. So
Age 50, because I'm approaching 50 here pretty soon. I started watching a TV series that was inspired by seeing a Glenn Beck program recently. Archie Bunker, All in the Family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching it, and I didn't watch it live because it's slightly before my time, but I saw some reruns, but
right.
I was still pretty young. So I started watching again. It's on Amazon Prime. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, I really identify with Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
I like
Right.
it.
Surprisingly, nobody.
And so as I'm watching it, I'm like, I wonder how old he is.
Mhm.
So I pull out
no.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No.
I pull out the old Google.
Mhm.
How old is Archie Bunker, season 1, episode 1? 50.
Okay, was that his character's age or was
The
I think both.
Carol, whatever his
both.
name was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so as I'm thinking like, holy smokes.
Mhm.
Like when you look at him, you think 70.
Yeah.
He's 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Tough.
Yeah. I remember watching the Frasier
dog's making
episode where
gross
he was
noises.
upset because he was turning 30. And I had Frasier at like 70, like, I don't know, like 60 or something like that.
So let me see, 30, yeah. So he's 50 years old. Yeah, that's depressing. I appreciate that fun fact.
Well, you know.
So no, your perspective. I mean, the thing is when you know that you're getting old, when you feel the sport you just played the next day.
Oh yeah,
that's when you're like, oh, cool. This is
It happened to me in my 30s.
Yeah. And in fact, I had major shoulder surgery on my left arm, which isn't my throwing arm, and reconstructive. And it was from a injury during softball. It was a cheap shot. I never slide head first. The second time in my entire life that I slid head first, this cheap shot. I mean, I tell you what, these church softball leagues, you better watch out for them large Methodist church third baseman. I'll tell you that.
Always.
So anyhow,
Yeah.
So I came out of retirement, if you will, and I joined this team, and I was playing shortstop. It was the first inning of a game, and I just launched the ball over the first baseman's head like it was my first time playing. But in doing that play, I felt this arm felt the way this one did before I went under the knife. And I retired again. I didn't even finish the game. I said, guys, I'm done. I cannot throw this ball. And so every now and then I will feel that. And I'm like, okay, you can be careful, because I do not want to go under the knife again. It was hard enough 3 months in a sling with my non-dominant arm. I cannot imagine going through that with my right arm.
Yeah, I'm holding up for the 55 and over league. I think I could probably join now and fit in.
They're better than you think.
There's some ringers out there, bro.
No, there are.
These guys.
That's my only chance.
You're taking too much time off.
You
That's
join
your
a league
problem.
now, you're playing against 20-somethings.
No,
I'm like, I can't do that.
I know. Jesse, who's on our show, one of the guys on our show, he's been playing basketball at the Y. And I'm just like, I just don't want to play with those guys.
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound fun to me at all. Like that competitive, that 25-year-old dude that just wants to put you in your place.
I'm going to play against some other 40s or 50s or
Yeah.
slightly pudgy.
Yeah.
We're going to play some soft defense.
Defense is optional.
Let me shoot the three.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know.
This is like an active game of horse, basically, is what we're doing. It's just a little bit more running than a normal game of horse.
So how often do you guys like, if someone maybe isn't familiar with your show, when do you guys broadcast? How often is that?
So once a week, we do a 52-minute show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we've recently played around with releasing some midweek, like 10-minute things, Mount Rushmore style stuff as bonus content. But right now it's one show once a week, 52 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We record typically every Wednesday or Thursday, and it drops a couple days later. None of our stuff is time sensitive. I mean, if you wanted to watch our best stuff's our newest stuff.
It's all timeless is a better way to say it.
What'd I say?
You said none of our stuff is time sensitive, but if you say our stuff is timeless.
I'm sorry.
That's better. He's right.
Okay. Our stuff is timeless, and you could watch.
Let them handle the PR. That's good stuff.
Unlike your Cheez-Its, there's no expiration date on
That's a
Lauer
call.
Road Radio.
So you could
That's
watch the
good.
newest episodes, which are the best ones, and work your way backwards.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think so.
In your feed there, I've seen Colonel Angus pop up a couple times. He's an active listener of ours.
Yeah.
And he's binged. I meant to tell you this earlier. He's all the way back to like episode 60.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
He's got a warning though.
Yeah, he's
See
binged
that?
like
He says don't.
What happened on episode 100?
The what
the
one?
lying one.
Lying one. Oh, yeah. So he said don't watch episode 100. We decided as a special for our 100th episode,
We would do something different.
we would just kind of like give the fans a treat. So we lied the entire episode. Nothing we said was true.
We planned on doing that from the very
I
beginning.
love
So
it.
everything
I
we
love
said was backwards or opposite.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like for
My
instance,
in-laws had some serious questions. I got some calls. They were concerned about a lot of different
yeah,
things.
like
Yeah.
one of the things early on when we were talking sports more often, I hate LeBron James. I used to love LeBron James, but now I hate him because he's a traitor. But I'm a Michael Jordan GOAT guy. Well, during that episode, he got me to say that Michael Jordan's not the GOAT,
Oh yeah.
and that it's LeBron James, and
Yeah.
it hurt me so
Yeah,
bad to say
that was
that.
fun. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But
So-
That's awesome.
the only reason you don't like LeBron James is because of his politics.
Well,
Mostly.
that largely, and he screwed over the Cavs.
Yeah, but if he was like
He could have been a god in Cleveland, and he
Okay.
chose to
Yeah,
leave
he-
it all
he,
for
he
money.
gave Cleveland the only championship it's ever going to have ever for its history.
But he could have gave them 6.
No, I don't think he could have.
I think he could have.
Michael Jordan could have done that.
Let's revisit something here. Sorry, I'm just all these Matilda little hi. I wanted to revisit something Danny said. Okay, check this, guys. What is the weirdest thing you've ever had on your plate? Raw deer heart from Danny K. That sounds very Dances with Wolves-ish.
Yeah.
That is.
I never understood why Kevin Costner was attractive. Like, women really liked him.
What? Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
I would look at him and I'm like,
Wait a minute.
Brad Pitt, I
Where's this
get.
going?
Yeah, Brad Pitt, come on.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Some of these guys, like, okay, Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck, yeah.
You know what I mean? You give him the coach shorts.
Harrison Ford?
Harrison Ford, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
And I would look at Tom.
An occasional Gene Hackman.
Listen, that's my.
I mean, a young Gene Hackman.
I thought. Well, so we've transitioned. Somehow I was able to steer the conversation not to weird things you've eaten, but to
attractive men.
what men do you find attractive? All right.
Once
Very
again,
good.
if you like this, you're going to love Lauer Road Radio.
YouTube.com/Lauer Road Radio. Be sure
Yeah.
to subscribe. Click
Yes.
the bell so you're
Yes,
notified
sir.
whenever they.
We're
Honestly-
on all audio platforms.
What you said at the beginning is true. Honestly, we just want to give you a break, you know, where you can just take like an hour out of your day and you don't have to think about kind of war. The only time we'll ever talk about war is like if we're talking about risk.
Yeah.
You know, maybe playing
we,
risk.
we did discuss, will there ever, this is a good question for you.
Oh.
Will there ever be a World War IV?
Oh, I like that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be wars as long as there's.
Well, unless
as long as there's governments, there's going to be wars.
Unless number 3 doesn't
I
send
feel
for good.
like when World War III hits,
Yeah.
it's going to be a while before 4 is. I think we're going to do some good
I
work.
feel like they said that after World War One.
Yeah.
War
Then
to end
World
all
War
wars.
II was the war to end all wars. I blame whoever named World War One. He's the one,
Yeah.
or
that
she
guy.
is
Yeah.
the one that
Because
No,
now
the
we're
one
gonna have
came
multiple
later.
wars.
you've already, you set
We
us
should have said
on a
that one was
path.
the war to end all wars.
No,
Like now there's pressure. There's got to be a 2. We got to have a sequel. 'Cause they named the first one
The
1.
trilogy's just waiting to happen.
yeah, just call it the Great War or something,
Yeah.
you know. But to
I think
call
that's
it
what it was. Yeah.
to call it
was the
World
Great
War One just seems to be tempting fate.
Yeah,
Really,
you're-
Obviously, it was the New World Order that was doing that.
I think
right?
that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
the Illuminati.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
The reptilians. the
Yeah,
overlords.
and the what are the guys with the triangles?
The
and
Illuminati.
whatnot? Yeah, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Mhm. All right.
So
So when is
what was your original question?
Food on a
Go.
plate.
Handsome men.
food on
Oh,
the plate? Yeah.
Food
I
on a
just
plate.
ate canned octopus yesterday.
Wait, hold on a second. They put octopus in a can?
I live in a loft. Just remember that. And that's the kind of thing we eat. My
I see.
mother-in-law gave it to me for Christmas. It was strange to open it up. And I was like, okay. So I put it,
now it's even stranger because it was a Christmas gift.
yeah, I put it on a cracker. And it was like you could see like the tentacle, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like kind of coming off the cracker. I felt like I was eating, it was like something a Klingon would eat. I felt like, you know, and that was just
How was
strange.
it? How was
Well,
it?
It was fine. It tasted like calamari without breading. Like it was just like fine,
Ugh.
you know.
Did
it
you
was
puke
fine.
later? Because I would have puked.
Listen, I've been
I'd-
puke free since 1993, and I'm gonna hold that. Like I am not a puker. Okay, it won't happen. I'll hold it in. I'll be sick for 5 days before I puke. So
Well, I'm an
There was
active puker. I love puking.
yeah.
Yeah.
You get it out and you feel so much better. If you're on the
I
line, see,
understand
that's
that.
the difference. If
Mhm.
you're on the line, just get it out. You feel great.
That's what they say.
You hold on to it.
I hold
And then
on.
you're
I
sick
harbor.
for multiple days in a
Mhm.
row.
Yeah.
Mm.
I puke once, I'm good.
So there was a time that I didn't drink. Honestly, I wasn't a drinker until about 11, 12 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
When you work with Glenn Beck and you live in New York City. Anyway. So what happened was there were 3 before I was a drinker, there were 3 New Year's Eves in a row that I puked. And I was just like, again, not alcohol was not involved. I was just always sick on December 31st, 3 years in a row. And that was anyway, puke talk right here on At the Mic in Lauer Road Radio.
Sometimes I realized that when I'm around loud music, like at a concert, okay,
Yeah.
and the music's very loud. I know this doesn't make sense, but I realized that I believe that if the music is really loud, people won't smell my farts. I don't know why I think that, but I found myself, I know this is ridiculous, but I found myself farting. The music was really loud.
Well, you don't have to worry about the noise level.
Oh,
So
no,
you're
you're not thinking it through. You're
Honestly,
thinking it's muffled, so therefore it's probably the smell's muffled too.
Somehow I think that and I was like, it's not, guys, it's not going to be a problem because the music's so loud, no one's going to smell it. I literally went through my head, and I realized for years, when I go to concerts, I think I've just been letting it go.
Yeah.
Because I think the loud noise, somehow the reverberation of the sound waves is going to break up the smell.
So you're saying that didn't do the trick?
Well, no, I did not do the trick, but I realized that I thought it did. So that's why I stopped getting invited to concerts, I guess. But
I guess so. Well, gentlemen, have we covered all the ground that we can cover today? What do you think?
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I
You're satisfied.
Want to go another 52?
Yeah, you've done, man. I held you guys so long. It was like you did 2 of your shows, and the thing is, you did 0 of your shows. So thank you for giving your time and energy and creativity to this
Can
one.
I get your legal permission right now to use some of these as shorts?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
That's on video.
That's binding.
That's binding. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't finish my sentence. Of course, after you talk to my attorney. I don't know.
Okay.
Of course. Anyhow, yeah, absolutely. So I wish you guys much success. It's a great show. People need to check it out. Don't forget to subscribe, youtube.com/Lauer Road Radio. And it's also, if you don't want the YouTube version, you guys are on every podcast platform as well, correct?
Yep. Every audio.
Wherever podcasts are listened to, you can listen to us.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys have an Ethernet cable you need to return to Best Buy because it's the radio station. I really wish the audience could have kind of experienced that, because every time you plugged it in, you would hear.
I was so confused. You're like, I'm hearing a radio. Turn the radio down. I'm like, what radio? It's like, it's Pierce Morgan. I've never listened to Pierce Morgan radio ever.
Yeah, no, it was clips of him or something somebody was playing. It was fun. Anyhow, guys, it's a blast. Please always keep in touch. And we'll have to do this again sometime for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
And by the way, I'm sorry that I appreciate the invitation. I just never, ever get to Ohio. And I know that you guys like to do that stuff in person, which I completely admire.
Yeah.
I just, if I'm ever up there, what's the nearest airport to you?
Columbus.
Yeah.
Columbus. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Maybe when Nebraska gets good again and they can challenge Ohio State, maybe that's when I'll be up there. So we'll see you at Yes or Never. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, you do road trips with your kids. Niagara Falls, you got to pass us to get to Niagara Falls.
Basically.
Yeah.
How can I say this nicely? We do road trips west of here.
Where there's rocks.
I see.
See, we like
Big
the rocks.
Yeah.
We don't do road trips east of here. That's the nicest way I'll say it.
Just imagine that it's like that big rock that you were talking about, except the water was coming off.
Yeah.
See how much better that would be, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'll keep it in mind. How's that? I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if we do ever make it big for real, we'll buy you a plane ticket here.
Oh,
We'll fly you up.
wow. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On
Sorry.
United. It has to be United.
Matilda's losing interest. She's laying her head down. I don't think she
grown up.
wants
She's
to hang
old.
out anymore. She's tired. She's always sleeping. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Lauer Road Radio. Go subscribe right now. Jason and Dan, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for making time, guys. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.